Hello.
Hello, it's me again.
Monica.
I know you said that you would call, but I'm not at home or at the hospital. And could I please see you?
Of course, in a day or two.
Sean, this is important. And may I ask why you're avoiding me?
Monica, I'm not avoiding you.
We have to talk now.
All right. Just calm down. It can't be as serious as all that.
Well, how would you know? I mean, suddenly you have just become unavailable. The only time you are available is for very infrequent phone conversations, and I'm the one who has to call. What is going on, Sean?
It's just that I've been busy, that's all.
Well, you never used to be too busy for me.
Monica, I have a very busy schedule. I'd like to change it, but...
No, Sean, you promised me.
Monica. Monica, look, I'll tell you what. As soon as I get to a phone, I'll give you a call, all right?
Can you believe this? At the last minute, Tiffany bumped Terry's interview off the air.
You're kidding. Why'd she do that?
She claims she wants to debut her new show, and you should hear the name. It's called The Men in Her Life.
I love it. Who's her first guest going to be?
Sean Donnelly, and I would love to see that interview.
You know, Tony, I might be able to help you with that.
You know, I knew that.
Voila. I keep it just for emergencies. Now, let's set this thing up and see what Tiffany can get out of Sean Donnelly.
Hello, Port Charles. I'm Tiffany Hill, and I would like to introduce you to the men in my life.
Oh, mother, she bumped Terry for this.
The title of my new show is called The Men in My Life, and it will be unlike any other show that you have ever seen before. I will be interviewing some of the most dynamic men in Port Charles, asking them questions that one might pose at an intimate candlelight dinner at his place. We'll get under the covers with these gorgeous men, so to speak, and try to find out what makes them unbearably attractive.
If at times the show becomes a tad naughty, that's all for the better. I can promise you that my guest will, at the very least, bear their most passionate souls in the privacy of your very own homes. So if your husbands or boyfriends are watching, I would suggest that you send them out to walk the dog or mow the lawn, because this show is definitely for ladies only.
So get your pens and papers ready. Ladies, because who knows, one of these wonderful
Gentleman may just drop his phone number.
My first guest today needs no introduction. He has done it all. He is a man that has been a secret agent and a public figure, a fabulously successful businessman and a pauper, and an adventurer who has walked on both sides of the law. Whatever he does it with a grace, dignity, and charm that makes this woman positively melt. I would like to introduce you now to please my first guest, Mr. Sean Donnelly. Thank you so much for joining me today, Sean.
It's my pleasure. I just hope I can live up to that introduction, that's all.
Well, neither one of us would be here if you couldn't. You are absolutely lead one of the most exciting lives of any person that I know. What is your secret?
Oh, I think I'm scared to death of boredom.
Well, that's quite a philosophy if I've ever heard one. Let's talk a little bit about your association with the World Security Bureau. Or is that confidential?
No, it's not that confidential. It's just not as glamorous as everyone makes it out to be, that's all.
He's modest, too, girls. Now, I understand that you used to work with former police chief Robert Scorpio and co-chief Anna Devane, and they actually worked under you at the WSB, is that right?
Yes, that's right. We had some pretty exciting times, too. That was probably one of the most intense periods of my life. You see, you're constantly operating on the edge, which tends to make you incredibly focused. Everything takes on a much more vivid light. And you're literally living under the gun with no room for error at all. So you have to pack in an entire lifetime into an incredibly few seconds, that's all. That kind of passion is very difficult to find in the real world.
Well, did you carry that passion that you had in that time of your life over into your personal life as well?
I've had my moments.
I'm sure you have. I take it that you really missed being with the WSB.
Yes, I do, but I also am aware that those days are gone forever. I'm not the type of individual who's going to become a ghost and live in the past. I just want to make the future, the present, incredibly exhilarating, that's all.
And have you succeeded?
No, I'm afraid not. My life has taken a drastic change lately. My heart keeps telling me I want to live dangerously, but my head says, hey, you're much too old for this nonsense.
Well, from what I've heard about your activity since you arrived here in Port Charles, I would say that you are a man who definitely follows his heart.
Well, I'm not as heroic or as crooked as the press would make you believe.
No, but you are controversial. It seems that you went chasing after stolen Mexican treasure. You almost single-handedly broke up the Asians'
Underground brutal reign of terror on the waterfront. You spent time in jail, and then you were actually pardoned by the governor himself. And you recently lost a fortune, and then miraculously reacquired it in what has to be called record time. Now, that hardly seems the recent past of a dull man.
No, sounds like a guy who never grew up.
Well, that hardly sounds like child play. Tell me, how does one acquire a fortune so quickly?
You inherit it.
And is that what you did?
No, I was lucky.
I'm sure skill had much more to do with it. Well, I'm sorry, we're almost out of time for today, but I would like to ask you one more question, Mr. Donnelly. How is it that an attractive, dashing, handsome man as yourself has remained a bachelor all these years?
I've had a few close calls, believe me.
Well, as catch as good as you are, should have been hooked by this time. Or is it that you just haven't met Mrs. Right? Or maybe your philosophy of passion is just love him and leave him?
My philosophy on passion and romance is to live for the moment. I've never been a firm believer in forever.
Well, that sounds quite fascinating, Sean. Unfortunately, that's all the time.
Please call the third floor nurse's station. Nurse Finnegan, please call the third floor nurse's station.
Hello. Is this the studio where they're filming the Men in My Life, a show? Oh, good. I'd like you to leave a message, please, for the guest on Miss Hill's show, Mr. Sean Donnelly. Would you tell him to call Monica Quartermain at General Hospital? Yes, this is an emergency.
Don, you were absolutely marvelous. Oh, thank you so much for being a guest on my show.
You know, for a while there, I was almost sorry I ever let you talk me into it.
Well,
I'm
why?
certainly glad it's over, though.
Why, Sean? You acted just like a pro.
Well, you threw me a couple of curves I didn't expect.
I thought it would be best just to get everything right out in the open, you know, by being upfront like you were. I think you dispelled any lingering doubts people might have had about your character.
Yeah. Now they're convinced I'm a reprobate.
Oh, thank you, Mary, very much.
And this message came in from Mr. Donnelly.
Oh, really? Who's it from?
Monica Quartermain.
Really? Thank you. I'll make sure that he gets it. Oh, Sean, I'm absolutely famished. Could I treat you to lunch?
Yeah, but could I use your phone for...
Oh, why don't we just use the phone at the restaurant? This is much too busy around here, and it's more private there.
All right. Where do you want to go?
How about the Floating Rib? You know, that used to be one of my favorite places, and I haven't been there since I got back.
Fine.
But I don't know about all these adoring fans of yours. I mean, we could be mobbed and swarmed out all over you as soon as we get to the restaurant, don't you think? A star has been born today, my darling. What am I going to do?
If I were you, I'd get out as fast as I could.
You know, that's what my friend said.
I was in the investment business?
No, he's a Swiss banker. Well, actually, he's not really a friend anymore. We used to be romantically involved, but now he just handles my financial business. And who better than a Swiss banker, right?
Well, I wouldn't know.
No? Don't you keep your money in Swiss banks?
What makes you say something like that?
You know who you remind me of?
Your ex-lover.
No, hardly. You have the look of a tyrant. Where did you stash the treasure, matey?
No, Monica, I just didn't expect it.
Oh.
Just having a little...
Oh, it's all my fault, darling. I just called Sean a pirate, and for some reason it rattled him. I can't imagine why, can you?
Oh, I think I have a pretty good idea. See, all pirates must be near water. All of